I've been meaning to make this response video for a while now, but I keep getting caught up with other things. But a bit ago, Richard Dawkins made a video regarding the result of the Brexit referendum. Now, I'm a big fan of his. I read his books, I follow his career, I watch his interviews, debates, and I hold his views on science and religion in high regard. But I was more than a little confused and annoyed by his Brexit video. And I can have a strong disagreement even with somebody who I admire a lot. So anyway, let's take a look.
The British people have spoken.
Yes. Yes, they have.
No, they haven't.
Yes, I'm pretty sure it has, Richard. Here, just let me check a moment. Yes, the 23rd of June 2016. Look, here are some polling booths. Here's the actual voting form. Here are some actual voters. Yes, here are some newspapers discussing the result. Yes, it was covered live on TV. Here's the BBC. Here is the actual result on the BBC. Yes, 77% turnout, 52% voting to leave. Yes, it really happened. There really was a referendum and the majority voted to leave. I have empirical evidence for it, Richard.
If ever a decision needed at least a two-thirds majority, it was Brexit.
I'm sorry, but the 1975 referendum about our membership of the EEC didn't demand a two-thirds majority either. Granted, it won by 67%, but that's not the point. You said the decision should demand a two-thirds majority. And back in 1975, if the result had been 52% voting yes, we would have still been in the EEC. I bet you weren't complaining back then. Oh, and hang on a minute. Before this, you referred to the referendum result as mob rule. Well, in that case, 67% would have been an even greater mob rule, wouldn't it? It would be nice if you at least stayed consistent.
Running scared of UKIP, he bypassed Parliament and handed over this massively important decision to a simple majority of ill-informed voters.
And here's the rub. By ill-informed, that's really your polite way of saying ignorant or stupid, isn't it? The vote didn't go your way, so the voters are too stupid. Too stupid to be allowed such a serious decision. Funny, as you've spent your career telling anyone that'll listen that Western democracy is superior to totalitarian theocracy, where people don't get a say and the ruler rules with absolute authority. But when the general public have a vote and dare to vote against the great Richard Dawkins' opinion, suddenly democracy isn't good enough anymore. You know what that makes you, Richard? A hypocrite.
Now we are monotonously told the British people have spoken.
Not to sound monotonous, but yes, they have. I've just demonstrated that for you.
No, they haven't. The polls have been going up and down like a yo-yo. The fleeting opinion on just one day of a slender majority of an ignorant and misled public.
Ignorant and misled public.
An ignorant and misled public is now touted as the sacred and unchangeable word of the British people.
There we are. You let it slip there, didn't you? You let your politeness drop. You forgot to say ill-informed, and instead you said what you really meant all along. Ignorant. You really have no respect for the general public, do you? Let's see what you did before and after the referendum result didn't go your way. Just before the referendum, you announced that the general public shouldn't even be allowed an opinion because they aren't economists. So only economists should decide Britain's future, eh? You know, those experts that fucked everything up in the recession and got all the solutions wrong. Richard, you do know that economics is not a science, don't you? I thought you were an educated man. Then, after the result, you called for the result to be ignored by the government. Fuck the public. They're not as clever as you, are they, Richard? And now you're calling for a second referendum. As if it's a best out of 3 game. Sorry, it isn't. And I'm really confused. You said the public were too stupid to be given a choice. And yet now you're calling for them to be given the choice again? I don't understand that. You spent decades calling for people to think for themselves and to make their own minds up. Then, when they do just that, you call them stupid for not doing what you told them to do. I mean, don't they realise who you are? A hypocrite twice over is who you are. Here's how it is. If I want to listen or read about evolution, especially genetic evolution, I'll come to you. If I want to read or listen to debate regarding religion, the existence of God, and how science fits into all this, then I'll come to you. If I want to know about politics, then you're the last person anybody should go to. In your areas of expertise, you are highly regarded and your opinions carry great weight. But regarding politics, I'm afraid your opinion is of no greater value or worth than anybody else's. And when it comes to a vote in a referendum, I'm afraid that your vote is exactly equal to everyone else's vote, including all the people, 52%, that you think are too stupid to be allowed to vote. It seems that you have a massively inflated ego that you need to keep under control. In fact, when I first saw this video, I was actually a little concerned. The tone of your voice towards the public, the dark, moody style of the video, combined with your suddenly inflated ego, made me worry that maybe there was some underlying mental issue going on. I'm sorry, Richard. I still have tremendous respect for you in your specialist areas, but this just goes to show that when somebody steps out of their specialisms, they are as open to talking utter bullshit as anybody else.